Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, in Facebook land. I think it's our third Facebook Live now, which we have aptly called Coffee and Conversation, although we'll get into why Souad's not having any coffee in a little while. So I wanted to officially welcome Souad to the couch this afternoon. Welcome, Souad.
Hi.
How
Thanks
are
for having
you?
me. Good.
I can see that you're in the club. You're obviously working today, working away,
Working hard.
working hard. Whereas I've taken my couch outdoors today. It was such a beautiful day. I was like, yeah, too good to waste. We are going outdoors. So if you hear the birds chirping, it's because I'm outdoors. So for everyone who doesn't know who we are, we will do another introduction. So my name's Corinne. I am the group fitness team leader and membership team leader at Fernwood Campbelltown. And I also instruct some group fitness classes as well. I've got a certificate 3 in fitness, and I'm also a qualified indoor cycle instructor, Strong by Zumba instructor, Les Mills Bar, MetaFit, and Animal Flow. So they are my very strange combination of qualifications. But for everyone out in Facebook land and for the people who don't know you, Souad, who are you? What are your qualifications? What do you do at the club?
I'm Souad, and I am the franchisee manager of Fernwood Campbelltown, and I'm also qualified Cert 3 fitness, and currently completing my Cert 4 in fitness. And I am an instructor in Fit 30. So yeah, it's a bit about me.
I was wondering if you were going to drop that in, that you do actually instruct at the club as well. So people may or may not realize that I've been at the club for about 6 years now. Did you realize it was my 6-year anniversary last week?
No, I thought it was still 5 years. Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure it was my 6-year anniversary. So you and I work together quite closely and work quite collaboratively. And I think, I guess what anyone who knows us knows, that when we start a conversation, we start it here and it kind of goes like this. Yes. Around in some weird circles, and then it always comes back to the point. So if at some stage today during our conversation we do one of those weird tangents that we're very well known for, everyone needs to know that we're eventually going to come back to where we began. We'll get there eventually. Because you are really sort of detail orientated and you're all about the details, and I'm a bit more of the creative side and the big picture. So sometimes our conversations go off on tangents, but we always meet back in the middle. So if somehow we lose you along the way today, just know we're going to come back to the point. So today's discussion is all about Ramadan and working out and nutrition during Ramadan, and you're going to share some of your personal habits and things that help you along the way. But first and foremost, I think for general population, obviously people interested in this topic probably know what Ramadan is, but just for general population, what is Ramadan?
So Ramadan is a time of spiritual reflection and self-improvement and devotion and worship. So that's like the technical part of it. But we fast from dawn and it ends at sunset. So fasting at least 29 to 30 days. We can't fast longer than that, and that's every year we do that. And it changes every 10 days, it goes up.
Okay. So what we're looking at is it's a religious practice, and really marked by the fact that you're fasting throughout the period of Ramadan from sunrise to sunset.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously that's why we want to discuss training and nutrition during Ramadan, because the effects on the body can be quite stressful. And obviously when you are fasting, you may or may not need to adapt your training and nutrition routines. So we've had a couple of questions from our members sent to us in regards to training and nutrition during this time. And we're definitely going to cover all of those off. So let's sort of start with nutrition for you. How do you manage nutrition during Ramadan? So do you change what you eat? How do you make sure that you're getting enough calories in during that short period? Because you can only really eat from sunset until sunrise, so you're eating throughout the evening. So what do you do in terms of nutrition? How do you make sure you're fueling your body with the right stuff? And how do you sort of adapt that during this period?
I guess I practically do the same as what I usually do. So my daily routine, but I guess I'm more stricter when it comes to Ramadan because I still want to train and I want to train the way I still train. So I try and figure out like, okay, so what am I going to have for before I start fasting? So early in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll think about, okay, what am I going to have for then? And then what's going to be left over. So I always think about like, I get really technical, like my protein, my carbohydrates, and my fats and how much I have in the morning. So it's quite like it, for me, it's a bit lighter than what I would have at night, but it's just because I need to train. So it's just depending on when you want to train. But for me, it's like I'll have, like, for example, I have some oats or eggs, something that is going to keep me going throughout the day. And thinking about hydration. So my main concern is getting my water intake in. And
Okay,
then, yeah.
So in the morning, we're looking at having a balance between carbohydrate, protein, and fat.
Yes.
Okay. And you are also obviously looking at hydration in the morning as well. So before the sun comes up, we're looking at hydration. Anything in particular in terms of hydration routines just in that morning? So we'll just cover the morning for you now because most people would be getting up and having something to eat before the sun comes up. So you're focusing on getting that balance of carb, fats, protein in. And then what do you do for hydration?
Hydration, I'll have water and I always count how much water I have. So it'll be about probably a litre. But in between the litre of water, it'd be at least a cup of coconut water.
Okay.
So because coconut water keeps you more rehydrated more than water. So I try and have that also. And so at least a litre before I even start the day.
Okay, beautiful. So we're, as I say, giving that balanced approach to your first meal of the day. And then, using obviously water for hydration, and coconut water is obviously an excellent source of hydration. Do you find it necessary to use things like hydrolyte or any electrolytes in the morning?
No, not for me. I think what I have is enough. Like, it's fine for me. The only thing I always tell people is not to probably have coffee because I find that dehydrates you. Even though you're having that liter of water, the coffee will dehydrate you. Like, you'll keep going to the toilet and you might feel that, like, you might feel lightheaded during the day. And that's probably because of the teas and coffees. So I would suggest not to have those. And I've stopped that and I feel completely different.
As tempting as it might be, because you are up early.
Everyone knows I love my coffee.
You are up really early. So as tempting as it might be, definitely I would agree in terms of a strategy. Obviously, I don't fast, but in terms of a strategy, I would agree to avoid coffee, avoid tea, avoid anything caffeinated because it's just going to have the opposite effect of hydration. So you want to, definitely be focusing on the water and the coconut water in the morning so that you are well hydrated for the day. So once you've had that morning meal, sun comes up, we're now fasting, sun goes down. This is when I call it a feast. Do you call it a feast? Traditionally, is it a feast?
Well, they call it a feast, but you're not meant to feast. So it's called a feast, but it's not like you're going to feast and eat everything you see. You're meant to really just eat lightly, like, and slowly. So, for example, I'll give you an example of like what my routine is always having like soup first. So start off with a glass of water first, and then have some soup, and then slowly wean into having something else, but like slowly, because your body, you've got to think about, your body has stopped eating for the whole day. You've had nothing, and then you just gobble down food. It's not going to
Yeah.
sit well. So
No.
trying to eat slowly, I tell people, is the best way. Eating slowly, so that way, and drinking water at the same time. That way, you're not going to that state where, oh, I'm still hungry, but I'm really not hungry. It's just because
Yeah.
you've eaten so fast and your body hasn't digested the food that you've eaten.
Yeah, so a bit of slow and steady
Yeah.
wins the race. Yes, and obviously still focusing on hydration. So again, water, coconut water. Um, if you are someone like me,
Yeah.
and we'll get to working out, but if you are someone like me who works out during Ramadan, anyone who knows me knows that I pour sweat, right? So I absolutely drip and sweat like I don't even know what to call it. I am just the sweatiest person around. For them, you probably don't. I mean, you sweat a little bit, but not quite as much.
No, not as much as
That stage, I would probably be recommending some electrolytes or something for rehydration if you are still working out during Ramadan, and you are sweating profusely. It's probably a good idea to have some electrolytes in the evening as well. So, okay, things to avoid. So we have a morning meal balanced approach, evening meal balanced approach as well, carbohydrates, fats, proteins. What are some of the traditional dishes and foods that you would avoid during Ramadan? I know that's really hard because traditionally you get together with family and friends, and you want to enjoy all of those. Absolutely, you guys know I absolutely adore Lebanese food. So you want to enjoy all of those, but which ones should we be avoiding and why?
I think fried food is the main thing. Fried food, and trying to reduce how much oil. Like, I think people don't understand how much oil is put into our food, but it is a lot of oil. So avoiding that. I feel like, and artificial sugars, like things like that. Any added sugars to try and avoid, but mainly the fried food.
And I think the other one I would probably add to that is sodium as well, so salt.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not only not that great for your health, but in terms of hydration, that's not going to help either.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So we spoke about sugars. In terms of sources of carbohydrate, what are some of the cleaner sources of carbohydrate that you would recommend?
More vegetables. So more vegetables. What else? Because we have like this dish, and everyone has it in Ramadan, and it's got chickpeas in it. It has chickpeas in it, so it's good for you. Yeah. So chickpeas, linguinis. What else? You can have a bit of pasta, but just eat in moderation. I believe, you need carbohydrates for you to fuel your body, for you to exercise anyway. So, like, you need that energy for you to perform the exercise. So I would suggest you do have the carbohydrates, even though it's a bit of like, it could be bread or pasta or rice, but knowing your quantity size and how much you need to have, and understanding like, okay, I'm full, that's enough, and it's good. And I would suggest, like, what I do is, even if I'm going to someone's house, because it's really hard when you go to someone's house and the food's there and you just have to eat because you're hungry. I literally get a plate and I look at, okay, is there soup? Is there salad? Because that's what I'm going to start off with, and fill my plate with that, and then just have little bits of what I feel like, but not so much of it if it's not good for me.
Yeah, and that was one of my other questions as well. So how do you take a balanced approach when culturally, if you're going to someone's home, it's not so much an issue at the moment, unfortunately, but culturally, if you're going to someone's home and they have prepared a meal, it's not always what you would choose to necessarily eat, but you've just described there with making the best choices that you possibly can, given what's in front of you, and then controlling your portion size as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess the idea of eating in the evening is not to catch up on what you've missed throughout the day, right?
No, that's right. No.
So and I think taking that approach, and it would be easy to take that approach to go, well, I haven't eaten all day, so now I'm going to make up for morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, and dinner all in one bang. But that's not that's not a great approach. So yeah, balanced approach to all of your meals in terms of the composition, fats, carbohydrate, protein, still portion controlling and still making the best choices that you possibly can, given the selection that you have.
Yeah, for sure.
And then hydration.
Yeah,
Yes,
so important. Yeah.
beautiful. In terms of training and exercise, I mean, we refer to it as training because we have particular goals, right? So when we talk about training, we're just talking about being active and exercising. So even if you're not someone who necessarily has a very specific health goal in mind, but you want to continue exercising throughout Ramadan, how do you actually do that? How do you continue to exercise? What time of day do you do it? What types of exercise do you do? How does that work for you in terms of Ramadan?
So I stick to the same routine that I have. So I well I train in the morning and then I train at night. So some days. So for me, I stick to the same routine because I want to go back to that routine. And surprisingly, like if you're eating the right foods and you're hydrating your body with having the amount of water you're meant to have, you'd be surprised that you'd be able to do a workout and be fine. Like I do an early morning workout. Did one this morning with you,
Sure
and I was
did.
fine. I felt like it made me feel more alive than not doing a workout. And then tonight I'll do a workout too. And that's what I feel. But it's depending on the person. Like some people will feel like, yeah, maybe in the afternoon I'll probably do a little workout and that's fine for them. But it's depending on how you feel and when you want to do it. But I stick to my routine and I stick to the same things I do. And if I can't do it, then that's fine. I'll lessen the weight or I may not go as fast as I go with my cardio. It's just depending, but just go with how you feel. But I suggest just keep going the way you are and don't put in your mind that you can't do it. You can. Like your body is still having the right amount of food, but it's just at different times that we're not used to.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's such a personal decision. I don't think either of us are saying that it's the right thing to do to train during Ramadan or it's the wrong thing not to train during Ramadan. It is such a personal decision because I think when we're looking at balance as well. So during this period, you guys have a lot of cooking to do, family gatherings. You might feel like
Well, she's gone. She should be back soon.
okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there. This is what happens in Facebook Live lands. Who knows what happened then? So this is one of those little tangents that we're talking about at the beginning. It wasn't the tangent that I was expecting, but it was a tangent nonetheless. I can't even blame my Wi-Fi because I'm hotspotting right now. So goodness only knows what happened then. Where were we? We're talking about not being the right or wrong decision to train or not to train. So for you, following the same routine works. You can do cardio and you feel okay. You can weight train and you feel okay. And you know your body well enough to adapt your workouts to how you're feeling. Generally, I think the recommendation that we discuss a lot with ladies who are maybe not so in tune with how their body's feeling or are not so used to working out during Ramadan is that we look at limiting high intensity cardio during the day when they can't hydrate.
Yeah.
So that's always one of my first my first recommendations is that if you're not accustomed to training during Ramadan, avoid high intensity stuff where you're going to get very thirsty and you're going to feel dehydrated. So that's always a good thing to bear in mind. And then we always talk about also doing lightweight training at any time of day, because it's not going to force you into that sort of dry mouth, breathing heavily, sweating period. We always recommend that if you are wanting to stay active during Ramadan, light weights are an excellent way to stay active. In terms of the time of day, again, you've described it being your normal routine, but there's also some really great, I guess, recommendations around training sort of early evening. So when you do your evening workout, you break your fast on something very small and just not light. Too filling. Yes. So something really light, probably a little bit of a source of carbohydrate in there. So even if they wanted to break their fast with a glass of water and a banana and then do a workout, that kind of works,
It could, but the banana I feel like is too strong. So for my suggestion would be, which I've tried, is probably a light soup.
Mm-hmm.
Some carbohydrates in it, so it's more fluidy stuff. That sits well before you train, but it's depending on the workout. So for example, if you're doing a weight training in the evening, then you can probably have that banana. It's just depending. But if you're going to do anything cardio, I would suggest something really, really light with just like a soup or because your metabolism hasn't started. So I feel like your metabolism is like it hasn't woken up, and by you having that, it's not like going to go anywhere. It's just going to sit there.
It's going to sit there. Yeah. So I guess sort of in summary, what we're saying is there's no right or wrong time to train. But the things to be aware of are the high intensity stuff that are going to make you very thirsty, and just having, I guess, enough forethought to perhaps not break your fast on a very heavy meal if you intend to train in the evening. Early morning workouts are possible, but again, if you're going to do that, be careful on what you're eating in the morning before you train. So I wish we had a hard and fast rule to say, like, this is the right time and this is the right thing to eat, but it really does depend on your personal preferences, how you feel, how your body reacts to different training stimulus, and how your body reacts to different food sources as well, I guess.
Right. Yeah. It's depending on your body. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think we've pretty much covered a whole heap of things. So we've covered how you personally approach your nutrition, the things to avoid, time of day training, types of training that are possible. So I guess if there are any further questions in regards to training during Ramadan, we'd encourage everyone to pop them into the comments and we can sort of address those as we go. But I think the important thing is that, again, there's no right or wrong answer to train or not to train during Ramadan. But we always say it is very hard to come back, right? So I don't know have you ever done a Ramadan where you haven't trained at all?
I've done a Ramadan where I've trained very lightly, and I would suggest if you are because I was like, oh my God, I can't do this because I'm fasting. So I would suggest start a year where you just train lightly, and talking about lightly, it was like light weights and doing weight training, nothing cardio, and that worked really well too. So I would suggest for people to start that way and just upper their every year try different things. But it all comes down to depending on your food and your water intake. I'll always go back to that because I'm a true believer. If you fuel your body right, you'll be able to do anything. It doesn't matter what time you eat. We've seen it with a lot of athletes that fast and still go out and play games, and they're fine. So it's all about your nutrition. If your food is right, you can train. If you're feeling lightheaded, always question for the next day, okay, is it because I haven't had enough water? How much water did I have? Or what did I have for food? Like, did I have enough protein? So you need to question yourself each day by you going through Ramadan and thinking, okay, so what can I add to make it better for me to train? It's all the mindset too.
And I think listening to you, I mean, you've got to listen to your body, right? If something doesn't feel right, then something's not right.
Sure.
And the other thing I wanted to touch base on too is, I mean, we're talking about cardio and weight training, but there's so many other ways to stay active and move without doing those things. So when we're talking about exercise, you and I are very focused on our cardio and weights training because that is what is required for our particular goals. But let's not underestimate the value of things like Tai Chi, yoga, Pilates, a simple walk, meditation. All of those things can come into play as well, and will mean that you are still moving your body and you are still developing fitness in different areas if you were to participate in those activities. So if you decide that cardio and weight training are not right for you right now, maybe it's the time that you decide, well, I do want to keep moving my body, so I'm going to look at other avenues for movement which are still going to keep my body really active. I'm still going to be, mobilizing my joints, stretching, getting stronger, all of those things. So I think don't be limited by only doing cardio or strength training. There's so many other things out there and so many other ways to move your body.
Even just walks, like if people go for walks, it's good. You're still, like you said, moving your body is the main thing.
Yeah, any movement is good movement.
That's right.
Absolutely. So I think we've covered everything off. I'm hoping that everyone finds that something in there to help them along the way. As I say, any extra questions or anything that we haven't addressed that you would like to see us address, just pop it in the comments and we can sort of address those as we go along. And I think anything that, or any topic that someone might like us to touch on probably next week in our coffee and conversation, just put that in the comments as well, because we're more than happy to keep coming on and having a bit of a chat and sharing knowledge and personal experience, and that's what we're here for. We are actually really enjoying coming on Facebook Live. We don't get a chance, we chat a lot in the club, but we don't get a chance to chat like this.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're always too busy. Too busy. Yeah. All right, girls. Well, thank you once again, Souad, for joining me on the couch.
Thank you. It was fun.
And we will hopefully see everyone really soon. Don't forget to contact us if you have any questions about our live sessions or the Fit 30 at home sessions. We are absolutely going gangbusters in that online network at the moment. It's going crazy. Awesome. All right, Souad, I will see you very soon.
See ya. Bye, everyone.
Bye, girls.